Yo, what's up everybody's Blizzard Hoops, and today I thought I'd put together a list of 5 teams that should trade for the 10-time All-Star Carmelo Anthony. This list isn't including Cavs or Rockets, as those are the 2 most obvious spots to land Carmelo. I also won't be including Portland, as they have expressed interest in getting Carmelo, and also this Trailblazer situation kind of shows that there is a possibility of convincing Melo to join another team besides the Rockets or Cavaliers, meaning some of these teams I'm about to mention could actually persuade Melo to join them. But on the other hand, all these teams I'm about to mention might not be realistic, as Carmelo Anthony does have a no trade clause, so we'd have to accept the trade. Anyways, let's get to the list. Starting off at number 4, the Memphis Grizzlies. The last 2 seasons, the Grizzlies have been seeded at the 7th spot, and both times losing to the San Antonio Spurs. Despite all-star talent with Marc Gasol and a solid point guard in Mike Conley, the biggest playoff success they've achieved recently is going 6 games against the Spurs last year, which when you put that into perspective, this is actually a pretty good stat, considering the next round, Spurs defeated the Houston Rockets in 6 games as well, despite Rockets overall winning 12 more games than the Grizzlies did last season. If you picture the Grizzlies playing and then add Carmelo Anthony into that equation, I just see this as a great fit for the system, as Conley doesn't always need the ball on offense, and Marc Gasol can stretch the floor to give Carmelo Anthony even more spacing. Adding Carmelo to this roster would for sure give them the boost they need to possibly contend in the stacked Western Conference. Number 3, the Miami Heat. Since the Heat lost Dwayne Wade back in 2016, it's obvious that they strongly want to acquire another All-Star for the roster. This summer, they were in hot pursuit for Gordon Hayward, but as we all know, that didn't end up happening for them. Carmelo would also have a high chance of accepting this trade, considering how nice Miami is as a destination and the amazing pitches Pat Riley produces. And with the Bulls looking to buy out Dwayne Wade, and he could possibly return to Miami, Dwayne Wade could also possibly recruit his fellow Banana Boat member Carmelo Anthony to the roster. Number 2, the Denver Nuggets. Yes, I'm sure I know what you're all thinking, that Carmelo Anthony already had his chance in Denver but demanded a trade. Well, that is true, but with the recent additions of Paul Millsap and young stars like Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, I could definitely see Carmelo seeing this as an opportunity to return to his glory days. Don't get me wrong, until the 2014 season, Carmelo was still performing at MVP level with the Knicks, but with the most recent drama, most people only want to remember Carmelo in a Nuggets jersey. Number 1, the Toronto Raptors. When you read about it, the Raptors are the most obvious number 1 spot for this list. They've been a top 2 team in the East for the past 2 years, and they have a top 3 backcourt in DeRozan and Lowry. Looking back at last February, Raptors added a great addition of Serge Ibaka, and he helped them a lot, but he just wasn't going to put them over the top to defeat the Cavaliers. While LeBron is still in the East, the Raptors need one more All-Star to become real contenders. In my opinion, Raptors are one of the most underrated teams in the NBA, as they took the Cavs to 6 games in the 2016 Eastern Conference Finals, and if you didn't know, during those playoffs, only the Raptors and Warriors gave Cavs some losses. Now looking at this year's past playoffs, Raptors did get swept, but Lowry was injured for 3 or 4 games, so I don't really count that. And even if Lowry was healthy, I'm not saying Raptors would beat the Cavs, but it would have for sure gone to at least 6 games, just as it did in 2016. All of this leads to why Raptors need to go all in these next few seasons for them to have a chance to beat LeBron. And going all in would result in adding another All-Star to their great roster. And while the guard positions are fully locked up for the Raptors, the small forward position would be perfect if the Raptors were to add another All-Star. And if you look at the other 3 options I recently said, if Carmelo were to be added to that team, they wouldn't automatically become contenders. But if Carmelo were to be added to the Toronto Raptors, a big 3 of Lowry, DeRozan, and Carmelo would be formed, and nowadays we all know you need at least 3 stars on one roster to win a championship. Anyways, that's the video guys, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave in the comments what teams you think should trade for Carmelo Anthony, and if you made it this far into the video, why not leave a like and subscribe for even more NBA content. Peace.